3:17 a.m., her phone rang. A stranger's whisper told a secret she was never meant to know.
He's here. Ethan is downstairs. He's coming up.
And if she hadn't listened, she wouldn't be alive to tell me this. I was asleep next to my boyfriend, Ethan. Sweet, attentive, the man I thought was perfect. The kind of person who makes you believe you finally found the one. For the first time in years, I felt safe, happy, grounded. But that night, everything broke. The phone buzzed on the nightstand. Barely awake, I answered. A quiet, raspy whisper said, "Ethan has a second phone. It's hidden above the shower. Move the ceiling tile." Then, silence. The line went dead. I stared into the dark, wide awake now. Who would say that? Why call at this hour? I told myself it was a prank. But the thought kept drilling deeper, and against every ounce of reason, I got up to check. The bathroom was cold. I stood on the edge of the tub. I slid my fingers under a loose tile in the ceiling. It moved. Behind it was a phone, hidden, no password, no lock screen. Just light, right in my face. Messages, hundreds of them, to another girl. "Carla's at it again. She won't leave me alone. Leave her, babe. I need you. I love you." My chest caved in, my ears rang, the room tilted under me. I walked back to the bedroom like I was underwater. I threw the phone onto the bed. It slid and hit Ethan. I was yelling before I knew what I was saying, asking who she was, asking why, asking how long. He didn't deny it. He didn't apologize. He didn't even look guilty. He just went flat, cold, like a wall. And he said, "How did you find out?" Something in me cracked. That night, I told him to leave. He packed what he could. He said he'd come back for the rest later. I told him he'd never set foot in my house again. He walked out, and the door closed on the future I thought we had. I called my sister Lauren. I could barely speak. She came over right away. We did what sisters do, whine, old movies, stupid jokes to keep me from falling apart. We fell asleep late, talking on and off, the TV still playing. And then came the next night. The house was quiet again. At 3:17 a.m., the phone rang. The same whisper.
He left something under the floorboard. Third board from the wardrobe.
I stared at the wall. How did they know there was a loose tile? How did they know which floorboard? I walked to the bedroom. I counted. 1, 2, 3. I got a flathead screwdriver from the bathroom. I pried it up. The board lifted easier than I expected. There was a small bag inside. An engagement ring box. The ring Ethan promised. Someday. I held it in my palm. It felt heavier than it should. Under the box, a tiny USB drive. SanDisk 64 gigabytes. I plugged it into my laptop. Folders appeared, dozens of them, each with a girl's name. I opened the first. Pictures. At first, normal. Smiling selfies, cafes, sidewalks, parking lots. Then the angles changed. Pictures taken from behind curtains, bedroom windows at night, living rooms with the lights off, women sleeping, different places, different beds. No awareness, no consent. And always, the last photo was the same. The woman lying motionless, her throat slit. Ethan in the corner, grinning, knife in hand. My stomach flipped. I opened another folder. The exact same pattern, every single one. And then, a folder with my name. Photos of me asleep, his shadow over me. Knife in hand. I stopped breathing. and I was next. I checked metadata on some photos. Dates lined up with nights Ethan said he was working late. The device was always the same. The format matched across every folder. I clicked into Jasmine's folder, the name from his texts, screenshots of their chats, GPS pins, a photo of her apartment door, notes on paper, codes, addresses. I wanted to wake Lauren, but I didn't. I just sat there, staring at my own face on the screen. Every sweet habit Ethan had suddenly twisted into something sinister. How he insisted on setting my alarms, how he replaced the batteries in my smoke detector, how he hated when I shut the bathroom window, how he had a box of spare keys, just in case. And always, the time, 3:17 a.m. Both calls, both warnings, exact. I scrolled until my fingers cramped, closed the laptop, opened it again. The call log showed only private number. I tried calling back, nothing. I saved the number as unknown. I crept downstairs. Lauren was asleep on the couch, wrapped in a blanket. The TV still flickering. I wanted to wake her, I couldn't. I sat on the stairs and waited for morning. In the morning, I told Lauren part of it. Not the photos of me, not yet. She hugged me. We made coffee. We pretended normal was possible. She said, "Block the number." I didn't. I was afraid I'd miss something I needed to hear. Back in my room, I went through more folders. Not just pictures, clips, audio files, doors closing, footsteps on stairs, sleep sounds, a kettle boiling. It wasn't artful. It was evidence. And always, each folder ended the same way. The final photo was identical, no matter the woman. A bedroom, a body, still, lifeless, their throats cut open, and Ethan standing in the corner. That twisted grin, the knife in his hand. My stomach flipped. I scrolled through folder after folder, forcing myself to look. Dozens of women, dozens of endings. And then I came back to mine. I hadn't misread it. The photos were real. Me, asleep, his shadow over me, the knife raised in his hand. But my folder didn't have that final photo. Not yet. It had everything leading up to it. The rehearsals, the almosts. I copied the drive to my laptop, then to the cloud. I took pictures of the bag, the ring, the board, the drive itself. I needed a record of the record. I texted Ethan, "Come get the rest of your stuff. I'll leave it on the porch." No reply. I stuffed his clothes into trash bags, labeled the boxes, stacked them by the door. I changed the code on the keypad, double-checked the locks, checked the windows, twice, checked the back door until my hands shook. That night, I left the laptop open. I left the screwdriver on the nightstand. I told Lauren to keep her door locked. At 3:17 a.m., the phone rang. I answered. The whisper said,
He's here. Ethan is downstairs. He's coming up.
The line cut. At first I couldn't move, and then I heard it. The slow, deliberate creak of the first step. One step, pause, another step, closer. I gripped the screwdriver so hard my hand hurt. I pressed against the wall behind the door, barely breathing. The knob turned. The door eased open. Ethan stepped in. His eyes didn't look like his anymore, just cold, empty, focused. I lunged. The screwdriver sank into his shoulder. He staggered, roaring, but he didn't fall. He grabbed my hair, yanked me down so hard I slammed onto the floor. My vision blurred. He raised his right hand, and in it, a long knife. "Stupid bitch," he spat. "You should have been dead already." And then another scream. Lauren. She ran through the doorway, clutching a kitchen knife. She didn't hesitate. There was chaos, a blur of movement, shouting, the knife clattering to the floor, Ethan staggering back. And then, in a final motion, Lauren drove the blade into him, into his neck. He gasped, collapsed, half on me, half on the floor, his weight crushing me for a moment before I shoved him off. The house went silent. We called the police, hands shaking so badly I could barely dial. We told them everything. The hidden phone, the floorboard, the USB drive. Officers moved through the house like it was a crime scene from a nightmare. They bagged the drive, bagged the phone, took our statements over and over, making sure the details matched. Who called you? We didn't know. Why 317? We didn't know. Did Ethan have a key? He used to. I'd changed the code. They found the back window latch scratched, the frame damaged. They said he'd been working on it, that he was prepared to come inside, whether I let him or not. At the station, they told us Ethan was dead. They told us they'd be investigating the women on the drive. They told us we had done the right thing. It didn't feel like the right thing. It felt like survival, barely. I sat under the harsh lights, scribbling everything I could remember. The timestamps, the exact words of the calls, the way Ethan's face changed when he realized I knew, the weight of him falling on me, the sound of Lauren's scream, all of it written down, as if putting it on paper would stop it from echoing in my head. They tried to trace the number. Nothing. Prepaid. Disposable. 3 calls. All at 3:17. All under 30 seconds. A detective asked if maybe someone had been warning me. A guilty conscience. A friend of his. Another victim. I thought of the folders. The last photos. All the women who hadn't been saved. Maybe someone had seen too much. Maybe they were the only reason I was still alive. Later, I sat in the hallway with a paper cup of water. My phone was on airplane mode. I turned it back on. For a moment, nothing. Just the normal glow of the screen. Then, a voicemail notification. Timestamp, 3:17 a.m., the night before. I pressed play. Breathing, shallow, slow, and then the same rasp. Do what I say. I never found out who it was. I never traced the number. But I learned one rule I'll carry for the rest of my life. If your phone rings at 3:17 a.m. from an unknown number, answer it. Listen. Do what it says. Because if I hadn't, I'd just be another folder on Ethan's flash drive.